Good morning and welcome to the regular meeting of City Council for Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. Meeting announcement, all meetings are live streamed on the City of Pittsburgh YouTube channel. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Reverend Burgess. Mr. Coghill.
Here.
Ms. Gross. Mr. Kraus.
Here.
Mr. Lavelle. Mrs. Strasburger. Here. Ms. Warwick.
Here.
Mr. Wilson. Mrs. Kilsmith, President.
Here.
6 members present.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence if you're able. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. And our next order of business is to amend the agenda. Is there a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved.
A second? Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The agenda is amended. And our next order of business is proclamations. I have 2 to be presented and 1 to be read into the record. Can we take the 1 to be read into the record first, Madam Clerk? I'm waiting for my office staff to bring something up.
Okay. Is that the will of council, Madam President?
The 1 to be read into the record from Councilman Coghill first. And then we'll do the will of council, if you don't mind.
However you wish, Madam President.
Councilman Coghill presents, be it further resolved, that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare February 22nd, 2023 to be Breonna Thomas Day in the City of Pittsburgh.
Is there a motion to approve in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Proclamation's approved. And can we do the will of council, Councilman Kraus, please?
Sure, if you'd like, Madam
Yes.
President, we would. Just forgive me, I'm turning my phone off. I didn't realize it was on. So, before I read this, Madam President, I want to thank Councilwoman Strasburger for her and her office's support in sharing the proclamation with me, or the will of council. Many of us know that Senator Fetterman entered rehab this past week to seek assistance with depression, which is commonly associated with having suffered a stroke. And I found it to be such a moment of wisdom and courage on the senator's part to be as public as what he was in understanding that something was bigger than he could do on his own, and that there was no shame in asking for help when someone needs help. And so with that, I really wanted to send the support of the council onto the senator to say that we're here with you and we understand the challenges you face and the work ahead of you, but you're not alone. We're all here with you to stand side by side with you on this journey. So with that, I'd like to read the will of council, if I may, please.
Please.
Whereas depression is the most common form of mental illness, impacting nearly 1 in 10 Americans. And whereas according to the American Stroke Association's, symptoms of depression can include ongoing sad, anxious, or vacant mood, along with feelings of hopelessness, pessimism, guilt, worthlessness, or helplessness that can impair one's physical and cognitive functioning. And whereas clinical depression can strike individuals from all backgrounds, all economic statuses, including some of our most outwardly successful and highly functioning members of our society. And according to Mental Health America, the risk of clinical depression is often higher in individuals who suffer serious medical illnesses. And whereas, in particular, nearly 1 in 3 stroke survivors experience depression due to biochemical changes in the brain and a reaction to the losses from a stroke. And whereas nearly 60% of individuals with depression do not seek professional support. And whereas unwillingness or delay to seek mental health treatment can be attributed to, but not limited to, a variety of factors, including fear, shame, inability to afford treatment, being uninsured, or knowing where to go for services. And whereas prominent leaders can play a significant role in breaking stigma surrounding depression by encouraging discussion around the condition and providing assistance in seeking help is a sign of wisdom and courage. And whereas U.S. Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania is navigating his first term as U.S. Senator while in recovery following a stroke on May 13 of 2022 that has left him with a physical, cognitive, and emotional challenges. And whereas the office of Senator Fetterman announced on February 16, 2023, that the senator had checked himself into Walter Reed National Military Medical Center to seek treatment for his clinical depression. And whereas the senator's candidness about seeking treatment for his condition sets a powerful example to all individuals who may be experiencing fear or shame when it comes to asking for help. And whereas this council of the city of Pittsburgh extends its fullest support to Senator Fetterman while he receives treatment for his clinical depression following his stroke. And whereas the welfare of the Commonwealth is inseparable from physical, spiritual, and mental well-being of its citizenry. And so now therefore be it resolved that this council of the city of Pittsburgh recognizes that it is a sign of immense strength, wisdom, and courage for Senator Fetterman to openly ask for help for his clinical depression, and be it further resolved that the council of the city of Pittsburgh hereby issues this will of council in support of Senator Fetterman and all individuals struggling with mental health, and encourages them to unapologetically seek help and commit to expanding mental health resources throughout our city.
Can we have a motion to approve in a second?
So moved.
Any discussion?
I'm
sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I want to thank again the office of Councilwoman Strasburger and Joyce in my office for writing the will of council. It was sort of a delicate subject to approach, but I just found the senator's actions to be so encouraging to so very many people in the example that he set to say that this problem is bigger than me, and there are resources available to me, and I'm going to take advantage of them and possibly help millions of other people by doing so. Many of you know I've been in 12-step recovery for almost 35 years now, and the wisdom of 12-step recovery really is one person helping another person, and that coming out and not and breaking the stigma that there's shame or embarrassment around asking for help. And that's what was so powerful about the senator being in such a position to influence the well-being of so many people, to be so very public about his decision to seek help. I just find it's going to be immensely helpful to probably hundreds of thousands of people, probably across the United States, that should they face those kinds of challenges, they will seek help instead of hiding. So that's really why I wanted to do this, and I appreciate you helping with this. Thank you. Thanks, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other members? That's it. Okay, thank you. That moves us on to our next order of business, which is the presentation of proclamations, and we'll have, Mr. Strickland, please come forward. When I was trying to think of someone to honor for Black History Month, our city solicitor said, it's got to be Bill Strickland. Got to be Bill Strickland. So I want to thank him for the recommendation, suggestion. We also tried to get our clerk, but she denied it. Or declined, right?
Hey, Bill, come over here.
Come over here. I'm sorry, sir.
Yep. If you'd like, you may. Yes, you may.
You can sit if you want.
Yeah.
Whatever you feel comfortable doing. Whatever you feel comfortable doing, that's what we're going to do, okay? Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you for all your work you're doing across the city of Pittsburgh. Thank you. Whereas, in honor of Black History Month, we celebrate Mr. Bill Strickland, who has been shaping the lives of youth and adults for decades. And whereas, a 16-year-old young man attending the David B. Oliver High School, Bill's life was transformed by an art teacher, Frank Ross, who instilled in him an appreciation for the arts, self-discipline, and purpose. And whereas, as an undergraduate of the University of Pittsburgh in 1968, Mr. Strickland opened and founded the Manchester Craftsmen's Guild, an after-school ceramic studio teaching children pottery skills in Manchester, the North Side neighborhood where he was born and raised. Upon graduation, Mr. Strickland was determined to bring purpose to the lives of the disadvantaged kids in Pittsburgh's North Side. And whereas in 1972, he assumed the leadership of Bidwell Training Center and created majors relevant to Pittsburgh's economy. In 1987, he founded MCG Jazz, which is one of the longest-running jazz subscription series in America. And whereas what started as a small ceramic studio became Manchester Bidwell Corporation, an educational model designed to empower educational environments for adults in transition, as well as a diverse population of youth in the city of Pittsburgh's region. And whereas in July of 2018, Mr. Strickland stepped down from his role as the CEO of Manchester Bidwell Corporation and is now the executive chairman of the organization focused on replicating his educational model around the world. And whereas he received the MacArthur Genius Award in 1996 and was honored at the White House, his book, Make the Impossible Possible, has sold more than 85,000 copies. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby commend Mr. Bill Strickland for investing in our city's youth and adults and giving them a chance to be productive citizens. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Tuesday, February 21st, 2023 to be Mr. Bill Strickland Day in the City of Pittsburgh. Can we have a motion to approve in a second?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Proclamation's approved. Thank you. All members want to come forward. Mr. Strickland, you can say a few words. You want to say a few words?
Sure.
And then we're going to present the proc, and then all members will come take a photo with you. Okay?
Well, obviously, I'm very honored, and I've decided to make my life a replication of the story you just heard described. Right now, we have 10 centers open and operating, including Israel. We have one in Puerto Rico. We have 5 centers operating in Pennsylvania, including the one in Pittsburgh. And the strategy is to get poor people to understand that they're part of the solution, not part of the problem. And so we built a world-class training center on the north side. It was the scale model for the old Pittsburgh airport, and it's absolutely breathtaking. One of the things I'm proudest of is there's no metal detector. And in 50 years, not one, with all due respects to the officers sitting here, we've not had any incidents of violence at all. All races, everybody's welcome, and it's a demonstration of the power of believing in human beings. So I've decided to commit my life to that strategy, both here in Pittsburgh and in Pennsylvania, and someday we hope to take what we learned in Israel, what we learned in Puerto Rico, and next month, with the help of the Rooney family, we're going to start building a center in Belfast, Ireland. It's already on the schedule. We think this could be an extraordinary international story, but it's one that underscores the importance of an African-American kid who goes to the Pittsburgh public school system, is honored at the White House 3 times, Bush 41, Bush 43, and Obama. And I'm the guy that got in the University of Pittsburgh on probation because I flunked the entrance exam. But the point is, Pitt honored me as Dr. Strickland, and so the message is, don't give up on the poor kids just because they don't fit a certain profile. At the commencement, I said, don't give up on the poor kids, they might end up being the commencement speaker. And that's what my life is all about, and that's what I intend to pursue for as long as God permits me to be on this earth. So it's a very nice morning, nice way to start the day, and thank you very much.
Thank you. We're honored to have you here. All members want to join us?
Sure.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. I know this guy. Yeah. Long time. His father helped raise me. Literally.
No, we'll wait for you to do your work on him. No, just kidding. He's great, he's great. Just kidding.
Oh, we know. Oh, come on. Beautiful. Yes, sir.
That was Dan.
Well, we got one. Yeah. Hi. Nice to see you. Yeah, everybody knows Julie because she knows Stop on Facebook. So I don't know how she's doing. I just got on Facebook. Everybody tells me. Hi. Yeah, good to see you. Thank you.
We need some decorations. Thank you. And now, Ginny Croft, please come forward with your family and friends. Yeah, bring everyone with you. If you came with Ginny, come on up.
This way, Jenny, over here.
Sorry, Ginny.
No, I like you.
So,
Family.
there's some people that Ginny has an absolutely huge family, and this is like not even a sampling of it, really.
They're all working.
So- but anyway, they actually just had a family reunion, and they said half the family, and there had to be over 200 people there. A portion of the family, or something, it had to be over 200. Yeah. Well, I think it was a little bit more than that. But anyway, Ginny has volunteered in the community for as long as I've known her. I met her long before before I was in office, before she started serving on the Sheridan Community Council. She was so active in the community and in the schools, and so her and her kids and her family know so many people. And I never thought that I should be recognizing Ginny, and I thought, she does probably so much more than so many people that I have already honored. And I thought, she never once recognized. I thought, she has to be. So we kind of like forced her down here. So I'm going to go on with the proclamation. So thank you, Ginny, for all that you do and your family that volunteers right alongside with you. Ginny Hammer Croft was born and raised in the Sheridan neighborhood of the city of Pittsburgh and graduated from the former Langley High School in 1977. Her love for the community prompted her to purchase her own home in Sheridan, where she raised 7 children as a single mom. And whereas, following her dad's footsteps, as being a huge sports fan, Ginny began volunteering as a board member for the Crafton Little Cougars, holding the position for over 15 years. She became the first female coach in the city of Pittsburgh's big league sports, coaching Sheridan Little League Baseball for numerous years, receiving an award from then Mayor Tom Murphy. And whereas her volunteering followed her children first as a vice president of the Sheridan Elementary PTA and then Greenway Middle School and eventually Langley High School. And whereas Ginny has been a member of the City of Pittsburgh Democratic Committee for over 20 years and has been president of the Sheridan Community Council for several years and currently is serving as the vice president. And whereas part of the Sheridan Community Council, she helps with the community cleanups, the annual Halloween parade, and Christmas parade and events. And she has organized Pitt Make a Difference Days and town meetings to address the crime and blight. And whereas, although she is proud of her volunteerism, she attests that her greatest accomplishments were her 7 awesome children, her sons Robert, Edward, Christopher, and David, and her 3 daughters, Becky, Amanda, Diana. She also has 11 beautiful grandchildren who she adores. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby commend Ginny Hammercroft for her unselfish contributions and commitment to her community of Sheridan. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Tuesday, February 21st, 2023 to be Ginny Hammercroft Day in the City of Pittsburgh. Can I have a motion to approve in a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Proclamation's approved. Thanks, Jen. Thank you. You want to come up and say a few words? Yeah, come on.
How can I follow Mr. Strickland?
Well, just come up and say.
That's an awesome story.
Come up.
No, Danny,
Well, talking to Mike.
yeah, I don't do it for this, but thank you. But I do it because it needs done. That's basically all it is. I had the pleasure of meeting Dan at a meeting last week, and very informative. I think there's going to be a lot of change with the city of Pittsburgh working with him. So that's our goal.
Ginny with an attorney could be kind of dangerous, let me just say. There you go, Jen.
Well, thanks, Therese.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank you. Thank you.
See you guys. Do you want to introduce?
Want a
Come
picture?
introduce who you have with you. Say.
It's my
Here,
daughter,
to the
Diana.
mic. To the microphone, Jen.
Oh, sorry.
Here,
I'm
raise your
loud
hand when
enough.
she says.
My daughter Diana, my friend Dan, my Aunt Nan, my Uncle Bill, who both reside in Northside in the city, and my awesome sister-in-law Ann Hammer. So, that's all of them.
Do you want to go with everyone? Sure. Yeah. Do you mind all coming up?
Want us up there?
Stay here.
You want us up there?
She.
Fine. I want that sign. I want that sign. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Heard about you.
cannot talk to Sheridan.
All good things, Bill.
Thank you, Jenny.
Real quick. She wants to get, it's gonna
Yeah,
Of course.
She's kind.
Yes, thank
Please
you.
listen to her. Oh. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jamie.
Okay, our next order of business is public comment. And I would like to remind everyone that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation which are or may be before city council. Threats and profanity will not be permitted. When you are called to the podium to speak, please state your name and neighborhood for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. When the yellow light comes on, you have a minute to summarize. And we'll begin with our first registered speaker is Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller. Oh, I didn't see.
Global Intelligence Society U.S. National Candidate for President 2024. A concern of council is art. I and the GIS share this concern. RLM GIS links the U.S. National Endowment for the Arts, Japanese Arts Council, the Nigerian National Arts Council, Mexican National and Culture Arts Council, and the German National Arts Council as well. A concern of council is art in public space, and the Public Art Committee in the Public Art and Civic Design Commission, PACC. In the 8 February 2023 pre-agenda interviews of nominees for the Public Art Committee, Ms. Strasburger asked the people who were there to apply equity to public art issues, and all four, unsurprisingly, in my view, insinuated the word equity into their response. But equity was not defined by Strasburger or these people. But art equity must mean applying intersectionalist critical race theory to public fund assignation for PAC Commission Reed Gainey approved public art works. Art equity takes from bad, racist, sexist, materially richer individuals and institutions. Art equity transfers resources to good, quotation marks, anti-racist, anti-sexist, poor ones. Art equity operationalization, example, copyright RLM 2023, consider Pablo Picasso Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, a cubist, LDA cubist painting of XX females in relationship to a Pittsburgh public school Whittier third grader Les Demoiselles de Pittsburgh, LDP drawing of young females. LDA and LDP are both equal works of art as art, but there is inequity in this. There's a bad predatory XY male, LDA, but there's a good XX female princess who did the little drawing. One is worth $1.2 billion according to CUNY's Baruch College Art Department, and the other is probably $1.20. Take the money from reproductions of LDA sales and give it to others in PPS schools. And have a tax, have an art equity tax, along with the tree equity tax and the food equity tax, equity.
Your time has expired. Our next speaker, please. Sergeant Arms. Our next speaker is Naomi Mullen. Naomi Mullen.
Here, shady trees, not shady deals in Bon Air. I honor my husband, who is a true City of Pittsburgh public servant from the 1970s until 2021. This is for you, Michael. We, the people of Bon Air, are the real stakeholders. We have paid our mortgages, taxes, and voted. We have shown up at the town hall meeting to give a resounding no to developing the building. We have signed a petition to say we want a green space instead of the deteriorating school. According to the Pennsylvania Constitution, the purpose of government is for the peace, safety, and happiness of the people they serve. The Bon Air Memorial Green Space is the solution for the peace, safety, and happiness of the Bon Air community. Without that, there is no valid governance. We, the people of Bon Air, welcome a green space to replace this detrimental building. After having 3 youths taken out of the building in handcuffs and 4 others flee it, this shows the escalation of the problem there. The opportunity is here and now to create a green space by condemning and tearing down the detrimental building that has created a threat to the peace, safety, and happiness of the Bon Air community. This is from my husband's funeral. Retired Deputy Chief Mike Mullen touched the lives of many people. His uncompromising dedication to his sworn duty to provide for the safety of the citizens of Pittsburgh was truly exceptional, and one that should be emulated by every firefighter. He loved sharing his knowledge of firefighting and all its many aspects to make our firefighters safer, smarter, and more efficient on the fire ground. Mike knew most of the firefighters on the entire Pittsburgh Bureau of Fire by their first name and was always approachable regardless of rank. If you had a question, he would stop what he was doing to answer it. He worked tirelessly, but also energetically his entire career in pursuit of more knowledge. His legacy will serve our citizens and firefighters for years to come. Mike was a loving and compassionate husband, father, brother, relative, and friend. Michael J. Mullen lived a full life as his obituary so accurately described. Mike was passionate, tireless, dedicated, highly conscientious, and caring. Well done, Michael. Well done. Rest in peace, my friend. We do not consent to this detrimental building remaining to decay the community we have built and maintained. Former Mayor Peduto was defeated and left in disgrace.
Thank you. And our next speaker is Ikahana Helmakina. Ikahana Helmakina, is she on there?
My apologies, I was on mute.
That's okay. Please state your name.
Greetings and good day.
Thank you.
Greetings and good day. My title is Ikahana Helmakina. I'm the Grand Inca of the Iroquois Confederacy of Aboriginal American People. I would like to give some words of wisdom concerning the recent escalation of violence, especially in the area of the school. Last week, there was a shooting that took place at Westinghouse High School. And also someone lost their life right across the street from Carrick High School. These educational disparities that exist in our educational system must be done away with. We must do away with and eliminate, erase, and eradicate these educational disparities that foster such conduct and behavior in youth. Our children don't have vision. They know not where they are to go even when they're in school, let alone when school is over for them, when they've reached the age of maxing out of school. I urge you, City Council members, to take swift action to address some of these concerns, for they have become public safety concerns for us all. For the neighbors who live in close proximity to these schools, to the bus drivers who pick up these students. Our communities have been terrorized, and not enough attention has been paid to this problem. We need to create tangible, achievable pathways to promise for our children, for our youth, for they are the future leaders of tomorrow. So again, I just want to urge City Council to take a look at their plan and how we are to approach this. We need real life solutions today, not tomorrow. You all closed down, and I'm not saying City Council per se, but the Schumann Center was closed. And one of the youth that inflicted this violence took off his ankle bracelet. I don't think there was much thought given to closing down that Schumann Detention Center. And I just want us to find real tangible solutions to these problems so we can give these children some vision. The trades, I've spoken dozens of times about bringing back the trades. We need more mentors in these schools. We need more people patrolling the schools and just making a better environment, conflict resolution, teach these children morals, encourage the school board to implement a morals class. That's very big if they're not learning it at home, which a lot of children aren't learning at home, right? And so they're housed in these schools for 8 hours a day. Make sure that there's an implementation of a class that teaches morals, teaches.
Thank you. And our next registered speaker is Pumai Chakman. I'm going to say this wrong. Yahalahi. And if I said it wrong, please correct me when you get on.
Greetings, and you did a great job at pronouncing the last part. The middle part is Chuck Mom, like mom. So thank you so much for giving a great attempt at pronouncing my title correctly. So I want to start off by agreeing with Ikahana Helmakina, the Grand Inca of the Iroquois Confederacy of Aboriginal American People, and her dissertation, so to speak, of the importance of, making sure we have the proper methodologies in place that the children can benefit, truly benefit, give them a foundation to stand on coming out of high school. I do remember in my youth, attending some of these local schools here, that there was workshop, that there was carpentry, that there was even, seamstress and cooking. Those things might be taboo today because it was gender based, but there is a way that can be. Gender does not have to play a role in these things, and it's important to bring them back. I did want to start off with my own diatribe, I would say, to remind City Council of the home rule powers and the definition that the City of Pittsburgh has all home rule powers and may perform any function and exercise any power not denied by the Constitution and the laws of Pennsylvania or this charter. So with that being said, without reading the rest, I'm sure you should be well versed in this, your City Council members. There's an obligation that the City of Pittsburgh has for the protections of Indigenous people and the inclusion of Indigenous people when it comes to these various issues that are plaguing the inner city communities. And I say this because there are a lot of Aboriginal American Indigenous people, so-called Indians, in these communities. You may not be aware of them. City Council in general may not be aware. Burgess may not be aware of them. Daniel Lavelle may not be aware of them, but they exist. I grew up in a community in Homewood and Lincoln where I would say, and I would gather to say, if you did some research and asked people if they have Indian in their lineage that identify as Black and African American, I can guarantee you mostly people would say yes, right? So when I grew up in the community here in the city of Pittsburgh, 99% of the people I grew up with knew they were Indian. And so the problem is that genocide exists, right? Reclassification of our people exists from Indian to color to Negro to Black to African American, back around to people of color. I'm not saying anyone who identifies as Black and African American are not that they say that they are. I'm not here to challenge anybody's identity. What I am here to do is to remind City Council, City of Pittsburgh, and all the citizens that you are still on Indigenous land. And when you make decisions about what rec center is going to be given to who to do what with, and what lands are going to be reappropriated to do whatever, remember there is an obligation that you have, and it is held to the highest standard of law. We have treaties with your ancestors in this territory, the Delaware Treaty, and the treaty is the highest form of law in the land. And I just want to say that we have been open to work with City Council. We have offered ourselves to City Council.
Thank you. And that exhausts our list of registered speakers. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address City Council? Please approach the podium. Good morning.
How's everybody doing today?
Good morning. Please state your name and neighborhood for the record.
My name is Paul Harris. I'm from the Hill. I'm coming to open the royal scripture again. As is written in the book of Galatians, O foolish Galatians, who has bewitched you that you should not obey the truth, whose eyes Jesus Christ was clearly portrayed among you crucified? This only I want to learn from you. Did you receive the Spirit by the works of the law or by the hearing of faith? Are you so foolish, having begun in the Spirit? Are you now being made perfect in the flesh? Have you suffered so many things in vain, if indeed was it in vain? Therefore, he who supplies the Spirit to you and works miracles among you, does he do it by the works of the law or by hearing of faith? Just as Abraham believed God, and what was accounted to him for righteousness, therefore know that only those who are the faith of the sons of Abraham, and the scriptures were saying that God would justify the Gentiles by faith, preached the gospel to Abraham beforehand, saying, in you all nations shall be blessed. So then those who are the faith are blessed with believing Abraham, for as many as are of works of the law are under the curse, for it is written, cursed is everyone who does not continue all things which are written in the book of the law to do them. But that no one is justified by the law in the sight of God. It is evident, for the just shall live by faith. See, people of little faith, that's why everything is happening now in the world. You see that the train derailment in Palestine, right outside of Pittsburgh. Whoever doesn't do what's written in this book, the book of Lambs, my life, this is it. Will not see the kingdom of God. Teresa Cale Smith. You hear me? Whoever does not do what's written in this book of law will not see the kingdom of God for eternity. You die and you get judged 5 minutes after. Either you go up or you go to hell. I'm trying to save you people. I wouldn't keep coming down here bothering you. I'm trying to save everybody in the world. I can't do it. People refuse to hear it. That's why these kids are so bad. Nobody never heard the gospel before. Even the Pope got to come through me to get upstairs. Much power and much love. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers wishing to address City Council? Please approach the podium.
I gotta go kind of fast because there's some things I wanted to say. My name is Yvonne S. Brown. I live in the Hill District. First, I would like for you to look at this what I have here. When I went to Jamaica, now they say Jamaica is backwards, but they're better, they're more modern than what we are. In Jamaica, when you go to get food, they don't allow plastic bags, and you have to pay for it. But this is a bag that you can use over. It says save the planet. Think green. This is in Jamaica. Now I found out over at your county council that they were talking about the plastic. If I had known, I would have brought this. Also, if you can hear there's something broken in here. It is my cup from the cup. I made a contribution to 90.5 FM. And I brought it in the other day with a whole bunch of candy that I left you from Halloween. Do you see what this cup says? Stand with the facts. And that's when I'm standing here, I'm bringing you facts. I'm not sacking or lying. What good can I do for the people, not for me? The people said, I came down here fighting for myself. I tried to fight for my son. You see, that did do good. I'm telling you this. I want you to understand, once Miss Smith had that lady and let her speak twice, and I was fussing about that you were wrong. When I went out in the hallway, you had somebody walk up, and he said, a city worker, I know she was wrong, but I love her. Do you understand that even children need to be disciplined? I'm listening to 90.5. They talked about the dictatorship. There was a dictator, and they took him to court. The lawyer, his mother loved that dictator, and he was saying that he caught a H-E-L-L because he was taking care of him. But the mother called when they testified, like when I come, and she called and she says, I still love him, but he needs to go to jail. Even though she knows that she said he's a good Christian because he went to church every Sunday. But you just need to understand that you do not help when you take and let them discriminate against me and anybody else of color, dark complected. Because if Tim Stevens comes in here, he can talk as long as he wants. You wouldn't let Esther Bush, look how dark she is. You wouldn't let me. You wouldn't let even Bill Neal. He said he had wrote all of you. Nobody even answered him. He said, I've had all the mayors in this city answer him. Bill Neal. There are dark-complected people. We can't speak. We will not be able to speak past a couple minutes. But like Tim says, oh, may I? And he talks about his light-complected children.
Thank you, Ms.
My son
Brown.
was black.
Time's
He's
expired.
dead.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Next speaker, please.
Hello.
Good morning.
How's everyone? My name is Flora Williams. I'm an evangelist in a church in my building. I live at 715 Mercer Street in the Hill District. And I'm talking about for Pittsburgh to wake up. Wake up. We used to be the #1 city where people wanted to live. Everyone wanted to come to Pittsburgh. Now everyone is leaving Pittsburgh because we are lacking. We are lacking. Some people are comfortable in their lives. They don't have a clue of how lost we are. They are not aware that they can help. They're so busy into themselves, they're not looking on the outside and see how we are depreciating. They are not aware that they can help, that some things are not costly by money. They can help with ideas. Ideas are free. They can put an idea across that can become a treasure to us. Wake up, Pittsburgh. You may have some ideas you are not aware that you are carrying. They need to be opened up. Open your hearts. Number one, your hearts carry volumes of good news in there, because it was put in there at birth. Before you was in your mother's womb, you had all these things embedded in you, but you're not practicing them and you're not carrying them in your heart. You have put them up under your feet, and you are stepping on treasures that has been given to us. Wake up. Sometimes just knowing that the people that are struggling, if they know that you are behind them, it would help them and their hope will not be lost. We are letting the people die hopelessly. There is hope. There is hope, and each one of you have it in your heart. Open your hearts of love. People are struggling, doing without. There are people that have a property. They're not even using it. But you think they'd open it up for the poor people to use? No, they let it sit there and depreciate and go down to nothing. They'll have it go to nothing before they help out these poor souls that's out there struggling. Help us, please, Pittsburgh. Come back and let us know that this city means something to you. You fight for your city. Don't just sit there and just listen. I know you hear, but are you hearing with your heart? You're hearing with your ears, but I want you to open your heart and hear what thus said the Lord.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers wishing to address City Council? Are there any further speakers wishing to address City Council? Seeing none, that moves us on to our next order of business, which is the presentation of papers. And we'll begin with Councilman Burgess, Chair of Human Resources. Councilman Burgess?
None of the papers, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. And Councilman Coghill, Chair of Public Safety and Wellness.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Coghill presents Bill Number 1249, Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Safety to enter into an agreement or agreements with the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency and Operation Better Block for the purpose of receiving and spending grant funds in the amount of $2,500,000 to support the Safe Passages Program, which places community elders in schools to prevent violence.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Gross, Chair of Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs.
No new papers, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And Councilman Kraus, Chair of Public Works and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. Good to have you back.
Thank
Hope
you.
you're
Good
feeling well.
feedback. Thank you.
Councilman Kraus presents Bill Number 1250, Resolution amending Resolution Number 723 of 2022, effective December 27, 2022, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2023 Capital Budget, the 2023 Community Development Program, and the 2023 through 2028 Capital Improvement Program by increasing design, construction, and inspection services by $125,000. Bill 1251, Resolution providing for a reimbursement agreement or agreements with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation through their Transportation Alternative Set-Aside Program for costs associated with work on the city's Safe Routes to School program and providing for the payment of the cost not to exceed $125,000, federally reimbursable at 100%, and a municipal share of Commonwealth incurred costs not to exceed $0. And Bill number 1252. Resolution providing for an agreement or agreements with HDR Engineering, Inc. for costs associated with the Swindell Bridge project, providing for the payment of the cost not to exceed $1,173,927.57.
Thank you. And Councilman Lavelle, Chair of Finance and Law.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Lavelle presents Bill number 1253, resolution authorizing the issuance of 2 warrants, $15,000 each, in connection with the EEOC matter for a total amount of $30,000 in full and final settlement of litigation, including attorney's fees. And Bill 1254, resolution authorizing the issuance of warrants in favor of Mary Ann Organ and Eugene Organ, her husband, and their attorneys, Edgar Snyder and Associate, in the amount of $75,000 relating to the full and final settlement of a case filed in the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Strasburger, Chair of Recreation, Youth, and Senior Services.
No new papers, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And Councilwoman Warwick, Chair of Innovation, Performance, Asset Management, and Technology.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Warwick presents Bill number 1248, resolution amending Resolution 429 of 2022, authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Safety to enter on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh into a professional services agreement or agreements with Open Innovation Plans, LLC, for records management software services at an overall cost not to exceed $131,692.92 to add funding due to an increased scope of work. Bill number 1255. Resolution further amending Resolution number 855 of 2011, effective December 29, 2011, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2011 Capital Budget and the 2011 Community Development Block Grant Program and the 2011 through 2016 Capital Improvement Program by reducing District 5 neighborhood needs by $11,807.77 and increasing play area improvements by $11,807.77. Bill number 1256. Resolution further amending Resolution number 864 of 2018, effective January 1, 2019, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2019 Capital Budget and the 2019 Community Development Block Grant Program and the 2019 through 2024 Capital Improvement Program by reducing Mon Oakland Connector 4-mile run by $24,000 and increasing 4-mile run playground by $24,000.
Thank you. And Councilman Wilson, Chair of Land Use and Economic Development.
No new papers, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. And myself, Chair of Hearings and Policy. I have one communication. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you.
Council President Kel Smith presents Bill number 1257, communication from Jake Pollock, Director of the Office of Management and Budget, submitting extended acting pay requests on behalf of the Department of Innovation and Performance for Chris Belasco and the Department of Public Works for Kurt Huber per the acting pay policy revised in June 2018.
Thank you. And can I have a motion to read, receive, and file?
So moved, Madam President.
Second, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? It's approved. Thank you. And then now we'll move on to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business before City Council? Seeing none, we'll now move on to the next order of business, which is reports to Committee for Final Action. We'll begin with Councilman Lavelle, Committee on Finance and Law.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Lavelle presents Bill number 1242, reported to Committee on Finance and Law for February 15, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1127, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Robert Gilbert and his attorneys' law offices of Joel Sandstone in the amount of $10,000 in settlement of litigation filed in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania. And Bill number 1149, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Max Petrunia, P.C. in the amount of $30,000 in settlement of litigation filed in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania. Bill 1150, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Tucken Arnsberg, P.C. in an amount not to exceed $8,933 for professional services for an early neutral evaluation related to litigation in the United States District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania. Bill 1176, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Ruth and John Banovitz and their attorneys, Berger and Green, P.C., in an amount of $80,000 relating to the full and final settlement of a case filed in the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas. Bill 1208, resolution amending resolution number 354 of 2022, which authorized the mayor and the director of city planning to enter into a professional services agreement with Bromberg and Associates, LLC, for effective communication services by extending the term for 1 year and increasing the total spend by $150,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $328,976. Bill 1209, resolution authorizing the city controller to accept updated financial system account strings and pay invoices for those contracts whose funding sources shifted from the Office of Equity into the Office of the Mayor in the approved 2023 operating budget and 5-year plan. Bill 1210, resolution repealing items and resolutions approved on various dates, which authorize the sale of property in various wards of the city of Pittsburgh due to an incompletion of sale items A through F. 5305 Broad Street, 5301 Broad Street, 624 Freeland Street, 2922 Banksville Avenue, 245 East Jefferson Street, and 223 Alice Street. Bill 1211, resolution providing for the sale of certain property acquired by the city of Pittsburgh at tax sales, items A through P. 5155 Hillcrest, 5389 Cornwall Street, 6406 Dean Street, 6404 Dean Street, 6402 Dean Street, 16th South Wheeler Street, 840 Carnival Way, 1128 Arlington Avenue, 618 Baltsuver Avenue, 437 Chalfont Street, 1902 Broadway Avenue, 332 Violet Way, 106 Wabash Street, 1044 Morena Street, and 826 Vista Street. Bill 1212, resolution providing for the conveyance by the city of Pittsburgh of certain property having been placed for sale to adjoining property owners in conjunction with the city of Pittsburgh side yard program, items A through X. 2003 Tustin Street, 4806 U Street, 3446 Monroe Street, 3367 Milwaukee Street, 753 Cherokee Street, 3419 Bismarck Street, 3417 Ridgeway Street, 0 Jordan Way, 5166 Broad Street, 536 Mellon Street, 134 Carver Street, 6826 Kelly Street, 7403 Idlewild Street, 385 Flowers Avenue, 27 Almeida Street, 0 Belasco Avenue, 174 McKnight Street, 1023 Salter Way, 2725 Perrysville Avenue, 1230 Woodland Avenue, 404 Moore Avenue, 406 Moore Avenue, and 75 Moluli Street. Bill 1213, resolution authorizing, pursuant to Chapter 210, acceptance of gifts to the city of the City Code, the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Safety to accept a donation from Southwest Pennsylvania Emergency Response Group, Region 13, valued at $15,800 for replacing retired canines. Bill 1216, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant payable in favor of the National Association of City Transportation Officials for yearly membership dues in an amount not to exceed $31,250, and Bill number 1217, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant payable in favor of the United States Conference of Mayors for yearly membership dues in an amount not to exceed $17,511.
Thank you. If you've heard the reading of the title of the bills, is there any discussion on the bills? Seeing none, the bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Ms. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Kelsmith, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you. The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. That moves us on to Councilman Bruce Kraus, Committee on Public Safety and Wellness. He's wrapping up the committee from last month. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Madam President.
Councilman Kraus presents Bill number 1243, reported to Committee on Public Safety and Wellness for February 15, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 1207, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Vonderhaus Gill German Shepherds, Inc., in an amount not to exceed $7,900 for a narcotic detection canine.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? Seeing none, the bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Ms. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Kelsmith, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you. The bill having received the legally required number of votes is finally passed. And that moves us on to Councilman Coghill, Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure, wrapping up this committee.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Madam Clerk.
Councilman Coghill presents Bill number 1244, reported to Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure for February 15, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1202, resolution amending Resolution 309 of 2015, Bill number 2015-1568, entitled Resolution Accepting the Location of Proposed Rights-of-Way for Parcels 2C300, 2C400 for the Lower Hill Redevelopment Site Infrastructure in the 2nd and 3rd Ward, 6th Council District of the City of Pittsburgh, and Bill 1203, resolution taking, appropriating, and condemning by the City of Pittsburgh for public roadway purposes certain property in the 5th Ward of the City of Pittsburgh owned by German and Francois Bernuevo, located along Shinley Farms Terrace, and authorize the payment of just compensation and necessary and incidental acquisition costs related thereto.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? Abstain. Seeing none, the bills are ready for final action. All in favor of the passage will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
You abstain?
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
I abstain on Bill 1203. Aye on all others.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Ms. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Kelsmith, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes on Bill 1202, and 8 ayes, 1 abstention on Bill 1203.
Thank you. The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. And that moves us on to Councilman Bobby Wilson, Committee on Land Use and Economic Development.
Thank you, Madam
Councilman?
President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill number 1245, reported to Committee on Land Use and Economic Development for February 15, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1219, resolution amending Resolution number 877 of 2021, which authorized the mayor and the Department of Permits, Licenses, and Inspections to enter into an amended agreement or agreements with Ath Power Consulting Corporation to provide customer service and soft skills training to the to the department staff. The amended agreement shall be in the amount not to exceed $78,150.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage will vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle. Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Ms. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Kelsmith, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you. The bill, having received the legally required number of votes, is finally passed. And that moves us on to Councilwoman Barbara Warwick, Committee on Innovation, Performance, Asset Management, and Technology. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Warwick presents Bill Number 1246, reported to Committee on Innovation, Performance, Asset Management, and Technology for February 15, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1218, Resolution amending Resolution 727 of 2021, authorizing the Mayor and the Director of Innovation and Performance on behalf of the City of Pittsburgh to enter into an agreement or agreements and amendments thereto with Vision Point Systems to obtain Twilio Flex support services to meet the needs of the City of Pittsburgh at an additional cost not to exceed $15,600.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of passage will vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Ms. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Kelsmith, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you. The bill, having received the legally required number of votes, is finally passed. Moves us on to our last committee of the day with Councilwoman Deborah Gross, Committee on Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Gross presents Bill Number 1247, reported to Committee on Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs for February 15, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1204, Resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for 7227 Hamilton Avenue. Bill 1205, Resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for 707 East Street, 17th Ward. Bill Number 1206, Resolution adopting the plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for Meriden Street residences. Project which will involve the development of 8 single-family residences with associated utilities. The site address is 117, 121, 125, and 129 Meriden Street, and 114, 118, 122, and 126 Hallock Street, 19th Ward.
Thank you. You've heard the reading and the title of the bills. Are there any discussion on the bills? Seeing none, the bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage will vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Ms. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mrs. Kelsmith, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you. The bills, having received the legal required number of votes, are finally passed. And that moves us on to motions and resolutions. And I have a few meeting announcements. This afternoon at 1:30, Council will hold a second executive session on Bills 1151 and 1153 as they relate to professional services agreements. This afternoon at 3 p.m., Council will hold interviews for the Housing Authority Board and for the Director of Human Resources and Civil Services. Those are 2 really important boards, so I hope members can make it out or watch from your Zoom, because I know a lot of you watch from Zoom. Council Standing Committees meeting is scheduled for 10 a.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, February 22nd. Please fill out the sign-up form on the council meeting webpage or call the clerk's office at 412-255 2138 to register to speak at this meeting, which is chaired by Councilman Lavelle. Speaker registration will close at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m., Council will hold a Cablecast post-agenda discussion on the LGBTQIA Plus Commission. That's chaired by Councilman Kraus. Is there anything from members? Councilwoman Warwick.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion for a post agenda on the spin scooter pilot.
Yes. Sorry. So, okay, I can't second. Have a second, please.
Second.
Sorry. Any discussion? I just want to thank you, Councilwoman, for calling for that. All in favor?
Aye.
We'll get that scheduled. And Councilwoman?
Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to offer my sincere condolences to the young woman's family who was hit by, while she was walking at the intersection of Wilkins and Beechwood, and sadly succumbed to her injuries last night or yesterday. And just wanted to send my sincere condolences to friends and family, and to state again publicly that we were going to do everything in our power to make that intersection safer, to make all intersections and roadways safer throughout the city of Pittsburgh for all users.
Thank you. Anything else from members? With that said, I do want to say that Councilman Kraus is now chairing that committee. He's chairing Public Works and Infrastructure, so please maybe work with him, and I think that he'll be glad to work with you on all those things. And Councilman Coghill is now chairing Public Safety. And with that said, I also want to make sure that I mention that Mayor Gainey and I had finally announced our Youth and Family Resource Advisory Committee members, and they are Reverend Ricky Burgess, Councilman Anthony Coghill, Councilman Daniel Lavelle, Ricky Moody from our Community Health and Human Service Policy Manager, Diane Hobson, who is our Community Engagement Specialist, and the mayor appointed Lisa Frank, Chief Administrative and Operations Officer, Catherine Vargas, Director of Parks and Recreation, David Jones, Assistant Director of Community Affairs and Department of Public Safety, and the Education Coordinator, who will be announced soon. And I just want to say there will be a lot of opportunity for council members to be involved and be engaged, and I'm hoping that the committee will, and I think the mayor will also make this clear, that we're hoping the committee outlines a really robust community process, and that every member can chair some portion of their committee, and bring together some of the concerns that we have, and bring us all working together. So there was so many things that each of you brought to the table. It was hard narrowing it down, but we decided to do this round because Reverend Burgess and Councilman Lavelle have been strongly advocating for the safety of young people, and Councilman Coghill has been recently, and also he is now the chair of public safety. So, and we feel like there needed to be some mental health component, which is why we chose Diane Hobson and Ricky Moody. So for our end. So I hope that you all work together with them, and we come up with some solutions by spring. Anything else from members? Okay, seeing none, can I have a motion to excuse any absent members, approve the minutes, and adjourn the meeting?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.